So this is a helpful tool for if you want to find out who the influencers are for your product or service. Go to wefollow.com, and you can type in any keyword, and it'll show you who on Twitter has the most followers and influence for that specific vertical. So this is for actors. So it shows you the top 3. Number 1 is Jimmy Fallon, number 2 is Rainn Wilson, and number 3 is Justin Timberlake. It'll show you that Jimmy Fallon has 2.4 million followers on Twitter. A follower on Twitter is just someone that wants to see what Jimmy Fallon's tweeting about or updating stuff on. And if you go to that green number, that's showing for the day he's added 4,000 new people that are interested in finding out how Jimmy Fallon's living and what's he up to. So feel free to use this tool to go in and find out for your specific company who seems to be the biggest influencers. So I actually pulled this from AmericasMart. I was looking at AmericasMart and seeing all the great conversation that was going back and forth this week. And so this company struck a chord with me, Life is Labs. And so they have a Facebook fan page that has 7,000 fans, close to 7,000 fans on their fan page. So I go, wow, this is really cool. This really describes to me what social media is all about. And so I asked a bunch of my friends that live in the Atlanta area, and some had dogs. I said, hey, are you familiar with this site? And so one lady came back and she said, actually, I'm a fan of this Facebook page. I've even gone to their site, lifeislabs.com, from Facebook. What I noticed is that it seems very personal. Not sure if that makes sense, but it seems they obviously love what they do. And so that's where you're starting to see, that's the huge power of social media. It puts a personality to your company, into your brand. And a lot of you guys are small businesses, and so it helps you develop even that bigger community, which is local. And I get the feeling that while it's a business for them, it's fun for them too. And that's important. 2 words that I'll leave with you with social media is fun and common sense. Make sure that you have plenty of both when you take that first step or even that second step in your social media strategies. It's run out of Georgia, so it's kind of like supporting local businesses - community. So the reason I highlighted these in yellow, community, fun, love, personal, that's what social media is all about. And at the end of the day, it's going to sell you more product if you take that tact. So what are really the 4 steps of social media? What are the 4 steps that make it simple to have success within social media? It's really to listen, interact, react, and the 4th is the soft sell. If you don't do the first 3, you're not going to sell anything. And a lot of people make the mistake of just jumping in and trying to sell right away. It's analogous to going to a cocktail party and whipping out your business card and going, hey, I'm Erik Qualman. Let me tell you why I'm great for the next 5 minutes. So socially unacceptable. But we sometimes forget this when we start using online tools because it's easy to do. But it's really, you have to start off, the most important one is to listen first. If you don't do that, you don't have a chance to sell. A lot of people just go to step 4 and they wonder why the stuff's not working. So it's listen. What is being said about you, your company, your store? The second is to start to interact. That's when you start to join the conversation. Start to interact with your customers. The third piece is then you're going to react to what's being said out there. What are they saying about your product? What needs to be improved? What do they really like? So you're reacting. If you don't react, you're in trouble. If you don't adjust, if you're in social media and you're not listening and reacting, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So it's really to take that information and adjust your product or service accordingly. It's a beautiful world today because we used to historically have to pay for focus groups to get this information. And obviously this is new stuff, so it's somewhat daunting. So a lot of companies are kind of going like this. Whoa, I was already juggling 3 balls, now you got this big beach ball coming my way and I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. Let's go like this. And it's actually closer to all your businesses than you think. It touches every aspect of your business, and I'll get into that a little while later. But it's really important. All of a sudden you've got this free focus group. It's the focus group on steroids that's coming your way, and the phone's ringing, so you definitely want to pick up and answer that phone. The beauty of this is that it's listen, interact, react, sell. Same thing happens on the customer side. They're listening to what your product or service is going to deliver for them, so you've set expectations for them. Then they're going to interact after they make that purchase with your product or service. Based on that interaction, they're going to react either favorably or unfavorably around your product and service. And the fourth thing they're going to do within social media is they're going to either sell for or against you. And so the beauty is, if you do things correctly and do the 4 steps correctly from the get-go, all of a sudden this step becomes more of an escalator. And yeah, you have to grease it every once in a while, but it keeps going around and around because your consumers are now selling for you. So if you think about the Google analogy, to where if you have access to that information of what my friends liked on their trip, their hotels, all of a sudden I'm not looking at the top 10 rankings that are paid for in Google or the top 10 rankings that come up organically. I'm looking at my 20 friends that have stayed on a hotel in Thailand, and I want to know what they thought about said hotel. So this slide's designed to showcase you that it touches every facet of your business. And again, I'm going to go over big businesses and small businesses. And so sometimes when you leave this room also, for some of you, the play in social media might be this big, and for some of you it might be this big. Depends on what you're offering and what you're selling. But you will have some form of play. So if you're selling stealth bombers to the government, your social media play is still going to be there, but it's going to be very tiny. You're not going to sell more stealth bombers because you have a Facebook fan page. But you might get that government contract if you're actively engaged in the blogs and the negative and positive conversations that are occurring around your stealth bomber. Should they buy more, or is it a waste of money? To where you're providing enough information so that they can make a reasonable decision. So on this slide, I'm going to go through this. There's Kevin Jacoby says, this guy's flying every day for a month on JetBlue's pass and blogging about it for Wired magazine. So that's public relations. And a good example of a company that has done this is Ford Motor Company gave 100 free 6-month leases to 100 influential bloggers. And they said, write about whatever you want. You just have to write something and take pictures and photos. And that's all you have to do. But we're going to give you this car for 6 months. And what has happened is that 37% of Generation Y was aware of the Ford Fiesta before it even came to the United States. So Ford's doing a lot of great work. They're changing the culture of that company through the use of technology and social media. And actually their CEO was at the Consumer Electronics Show this week, and that would have never happened 5 years ago. And so he's there alongside Steve Jobs of Apple and Steve Ballmer of Microsoft, the CEO of Ford. They're changing the way they do things. And it's actually transpiring into how they actually engineer. So they're making the digital cockpit because their CEO came over from Boeing, and he developed the digital cockpit for Boeing. And now that car, if you can believe it, you can now voice actively send tweets while you're driving. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know on a safety side, but it's really transforming the way they do business. This next one on Love, Eat, First Strike. Free movies on New York to Seattle JetBlue flight because the bathroom was broken and delayed an hour to fix. Now, when you get into social media, don't underestimate the creative vernacular of your user base when you see these tools. But anyways, on the customer service side, this is really important. Are they going to reward those flyers when they land? And are they going to fix the problem on the plane quicker because they can see that this has happened? So that's on the reacting phase. On this, the second one is trying to see if JetBlue still has unlimited flying pass for this month. That's on the sales side. JetBlue can just answer that real quickly and go, yes, the program's running for 2 more days. This is how you go and get that pass. The fourth one, JetBlue smoking signs on JetBlue flights made emergency landings at Kennedy Airport. This is crisis management. Sometimes this is the first time that they'll see this. All of us are familiar with the US airplane that went down in the Hudson, and that's by the Captain Sully, who's now a national hero. But it first broke on Twitter, and the pictures first broke on Twitter. And so as a company, you can kind of see what's happening quickly on this stuff. This fourth one's just kind of for fun. 9-year-old stepson just announced he wants to be a JetBlue pilot for Halloween, and my 3-year-old followed with wanting to be a plane lady. So I put that as a joke. That's recruiting. They could reach out to him and say, hey, we're going to send you the wings and maybe a JetBlue cap for you. Then the last one is probably the most important one on here, is that, to summarize that, he thinks that he'd fly JetBlue all the time if they had internet access on the planes, which a lot of planes do today. So he just wants to make sure that the ubiquity of the internet access on JetBlue happens. And so that's, again, are they going to react to that and change their product based on the feedback that they're receiving? And again, this is only 30 minutes. I pulled this from 30 minutes of dialogue, and it hit every part of their business. And so companies are really starting to realize this. So Dell, what did they have? They had 40 people that were assigned to social media. That's a lot. Then they realized this is the wrong way to do it. It affects every part of the company. The whole company has to be engaged within social media. And that's why you see the quote from McDonald's, our head of social media is the customer. If you're unsure of what to do within social media, most likely your customer is going to give you that guide. They're going to be out there posting. They might even have started a fan page for your store or for your company and have already done it because they're a fan of your product and service. And they'll really be a guide to tell you what they're looking for out there from you. So this is a fun video. This is a gentleman that flew on United Airlines, and it had less than a spectacular experience. And it turns out he's a musician. So then he wasn't getting the response that he liked, and so he actually wrote a song and posted it on YouTube. And so this has close to 7 million views today. But I'm going to play this, at least a part of it. For nothing else, it's actually a really good song.
I flew United Airlines on my way to Nebraska. The plane departed Halifax, connecting in Chicago's O'Hare. While on the ground, a passenger said from the seat behind me, "My God, they're throwing guitars out there." The band and I exchanged a look, best described as terror, at the action on the tarmac.
And as I said, there's 7 million. That gets back to he's selling against United. So getting back to the escalator. And that could happen in any business. Obviously, a big business like United has more of a bullseye on its back, and they'll take the time to do that video. But no matter how small your business is, it could be just a blog post. It could be a post on Yelp or Yahoo Answers. So anything can affect you.